Hey guys, I'm Becky and welcome to another reading vlog. Today it is Friday, November 8th. I am in a giant hole pit of despair from election night. And I'm slowly moving away from the despair and getting into a place of hope and unity, and women and other groups have suffered worse and longer, and we can get through this. We can endure this. I am very swiftly cutting people out of my life. I have cut people out of social media, and I am going to be a lot more vocal with my beliefs and my opinions and calling people out when they're saying gross things around me, because I don't need that in my life. I need to build better boundaries and call people out, because apparently people are feeling comfortable being disgusting human beings, and I want to make sure that they are not comfortable doing those things around me. So the holidays will be an interesting time. Just to put it out there and be clear, this is a pro-woman, any kind of woman you are, whether that's biological or not, pro-woman, pro-LGBTQ, pro-trans, pro-choice, anti-racism, anti-xenophobia, anti-bigotry. None of that is tolerated here. This is a safe space for women. This is a safe space for the LGBT community. This is a safe space for people with disabilities. This is a safe space for all. And, for a long time, creators didn't really do that, or I was careful about talking about my views, but we need to be louder. We need to be louder, and BookTube is political. I'm a librarian, and they're coming directly after me in my career and the books that I love, and I'm not going to go quietly about it. So, if it wasn't apparent, now I'm making it as apparent and obvious as possible. So, we'll see where the cards fall. I'm using books trying to use books as an escape. It has been mildly successful. So I did restart A Monstrous Kind is what it's called. The Monstrous Kind by Lydia Gregovic. I started this in September for the Magical Readathon, and then I decided to softy enough it until I could get an audiobook. So I got an audiobook through Libby, and I started it on Wednesday. I got to the 55% mark yesterday, and I'm snoozing. So I think while I could push myself to finish it, and while it might be an okay book, I don't feel the urge. I don't. So I think I'm just going to hard DNF it, and we're just going to be done with that book. I am now reading Nadine's Champion by Remi Dixon, because I thought, let's try to find like a safe bet of something that I should enjoy. And while it is helping, it is very much like there's so many books that I want to read, but they're way too close to real life right now. So I figured this would be a pretty safe bet. And while it is, there are still just like some remarks. I mean, these aliens are a little bit, I can't think of the words. The only word I can think of is proprietal, like where it's like, they resonate and they're very like, you are mine kind of thing, which can be like a fun, silly, goofy time, and like they are respectful, and it is very much different from real world men. But sometimes when like comments like that have been made so far, I'm like, I'm just not here for it right now. So it's an okay time. I'm reminding myself that it's like possessive. That's the word I'm looking for. While they are being a bit possessive, it's in like the kindest way possible. And because I'm in such like a negative headspace, I'm like, I want there to be one of these, because we're dealing with the couples who either are fighting resonance or haven't resonated yet. And I feel like as terrible as it sounds, I kind of want a book where they find, a pleasure mate, and then it turns out that they don't resonate to each other. Because so far, like, all the pleasure mates have ended up resonating to each other. And I know that it's partially about, like, people kind of having a choice, because, like, your cootie chooses for you in this world. But, so, like, by doing it this way, it's kind of like you already were attracted to this person and your cootie chose it. So it was like, you felt like you were a little bit more in control. But I don't know, I just have this weird part of me that's just like, What would happen if you did fall for someone and they didn't resonate to you? That could be a fun vibe, and then you then find your true mate. That could be a fun time. I've read many like werewolf or other fated mate books like that, you know? Could be a fun time. But anyways, I am reading that. I am enjoying it so far. I have 2 hours left, so I wanted to finally start this vlog, and we can talk about it once I finish it to see how we're feeling. As for plans of like what else I'm gonna read, I have no plans. I'm just kind of like mood reading, going with the flow. I might end up like completely switching out my tentative November TBR just because like a lot of it is things that are a little too close to home right now, so I feel like maybe I just need like fun, silly, goofy times right now. My eyes have been fully awakened of just how many unsafe spaces there are for me, and I realize that as a white person, I'm like really truly understanding my privilege. So I'm not saying like, you know, oh my god, I just realized the world's terrible. Like, no, I knew the world was terrible, but I just didn't, I thought that we were growing and we're still not. Like, I thought we were growing, and then I was like awakened in 2020 of just how bad the world is, and then I thought that we were finally getting to a place and coming together, and we're still not. You know, I'm just realizing, you know, how much the world hates women for a fact. I'm just like re-finding my safe spaces, which is horrible. So I am gonna go take a shower. I'm gonna eat some dinner, and then I will probably finish this book and then come to you with my thoughts, and then figure out what we're gonna read next. Hello, happy Saturday. My camera battery is about to die, so let's see if we can do this. I don't think we can. Should we redo this? Yeah, give me a second. Okay, and we're back. It is Saturday. Like I said, I just got home from work. I am so exhausted, but I'm home now. My husband is cooking dinner. I am gonna go downstairs and get cozy and read, but I did finish reading Nadine's Champion. And I don't think that I mentioned to you guys, but this is the one about the other clone. I was worried going into it because the first one was really weird and I didn't like it, but this one was much, much better because we didn't have to deal with those other things. But it was cute. It was a cute, sweet time. So I finished that, and then I decided to just immediately go into Callie's Catastrophe by Remi Dixon. This one is also cute, even though it does have like some problematic themes. So our hero kidnaps our heroine. He drugs and kidnaps her, but he does feel really bad about it. He didn't think that it would affect her that badly, so he does feel bad about it. And she does get her revenge, and we do have like this really sweet story after that. So I'm 55% of the way through it, like you may have seen on the screen. And I am really enjoying it. So it was actually her and another couple, like another guy stole another one of the girls to try to resonate to them. This couple has already resonated, but she's fighting it. We have them, and then in the background, somebody else steals somebody trying to resonate to her. So we are getting her story next, I think. But these are just like such like a easy, light, sexy, fun time that I was like, you know what? Let's just try to knock a couple out. I'm not sure if I'm going to read the next one, which would be about Penny, as soon as I finish this one, or if I'm gonna then, you know, bop around my TBR. My mood about the election is getting a bit better. Not fully out of the rage stage, but I'm feeling hopeful. I'm feeling like you're not gonna defeat us, you know? Like, we're here, we're still standing, and we're still gonna. Yeah, that's where my mindset is at. I'm going to go ahead downstairs. Oh, what am I giving the book? I think, I gave it 4 stars. I gave Nadine's Champion 4 stars. This one, I'm feeling like it's probably gonna be a 4. But I mean, we're only halfway in, so let's see where this other half takes us, because it might go up. But yeah, I'm gonna go downstairs, I'm going to eat, I'm going to relax, and I will update you once I finish this book. So, I'll see you in a little bit. Hello, it is Monday. I am home from work. Today it was Veterans Day, so the library was closed to the public, but we still had to be in the building to do like training and stuff, which honestly was just like an hour-long meeting and then like do your own tasks. And then our internet went out, so I hardly got to do any tasks. So it was basically a waste of my time. I have done a buttload of reading yesterday. I did not update you at all, and I read so freaking much. So let's go through the books that I have read and maybe figure out a plan for what I'm going to read next. So I can't remember, but I believe I talked to you about this book, which is, if it will focus, Callie's Catastrophe by Ruby Dixon. I am pretty positive that I finished this book yesterday. Can't remember, but I finished this book. I ended up giving it 4 stars, so if you didn't know that, now you do. Then I immediately went into Penny's Protector because I realized that I just had Penny's Protector and then the short story, and then I can go back to the Ice Planet Barbarian main series, read book 19. So I read this one, gave it 5 out of 5 stars. This was such a cute one. So if you read the Callie one, then you know kind of like how her situation comes about. Penny is in the same boat, but very different. So while this couple has already resonated and they're fighting it, this couple has not. And I feel like when we get the couples who haven't resonated but decide to be pleasure mates, that we really get like a lot of anxiety of like, oh no, they're falling in love. Are they even going to resonate to each other? And I feel like those are some of the best ones just because it's like, oh God, what's going to happen to them? So I had a really good time with this one. It was just so cute. I really love the hero in this one. He's just a little soft boy and I loved it. So I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. Then I read the little novella in between, which is like an 18-page thing that she like posted on Facebook, I think. It was cute. It does follow our original couple from Ice Home, which is Lauren, and I can't think of her mate's name. And it's just about them celebrating Christmas, which was pretty cute. Just like a small little like slice of life kind of thing. And then I didn't know what I was going to read. And I started to have like some pretty bad anxiety last night. Basically what's happening is, like I was explaining to you guys, I am not sure what like the holidays are going to be looking like because I know that some of my family did vote for Trump. How like I'm just done being quiet about my morals and things like that. So I feel like I'm starting to get to a healthier place and I will be fine for like a good chunk of the day where I can like do activities and enjoy myself. But then as soon as like my head hits the pillow and I close my eyes to go to sleep, all of a sudden I start just thinking all these like what if scenarios and pretend scenarios of like, okay, if they say this, how am I going to respond to that? If they argue this, what is my response? Because it's like as soon as you can't think of something in this situation fast enough, they're going to jump on you and be like, see, you don't even know, blah, 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 you know, yada, yada, yada. And I just don't want to be in that situation. I just want to be like, I mean, still respectful because at the end of the day, we are all trying to come together as a people, but just kind of get my point across of like, this isn't a matter of opinion, it's a matter of morals. And I just don't understand how you could vote for that person. I don't care about the party, but the actual candidate himself is just a disgusting person, and I don't get it. You know, just thinking all of these things and, you know, just trying to make sure that I have, like, my facts straight and my words straight, because it's like, as soon as I fumble or mess up, it's gonna be what they pounce on. And at the same time, like, none of this might even happen. Like, it might just be that everything goes without a hitch, no one talks about it, and people are kind of already on notice that, like, I'm not okay with these things, and the fact that they're going to be in my mother's home who also isn't okay with these things, I think it should hopefully be fine, but you know, you gotta plan for the worst and hope for the best. So yeah, so now I just keep having this like nighttime anxiety where it's like once I am no longer distracting myself, it all just floods right back into my head and I just get like re-angry and re-worked up and re-upset. And yeah, so I decided to just like try to distract myself long enough where I would be so exhausted that I would have no choice but to sleep, or it's like you're so past the point of exhaustion that as soon as your head hits the pillow you're asleep, or you're already falling asleep, so that way you can just like, you know, close your Kindle and just go to bed. And I was already at that point earlier in the night because my husband went to bed pretty early, like at like 9 o'clock. So I was already in bed and I was like, okay, cool, I'm gonna go to bed early because I have to be to work at 9 instead of my usual noon, and it's gonna be great. And like every time I would lay down, it would all flood right back in and I'd get anxious again. So I just tried to distract myself by reading. So I started a book, which you're going to see the cover of this and you're going to be like, this is not your normal book. Why on earth did you read it? And honestly, I don't know. I truly don't remember why I read this book. So here's the book. It's 3 things I'd never do. It is by Remi Carrington. It is book 1. There are 7 books total, or like 6 and a novella, which I'm like, why? This is like very much like the cover seems, a very stereotypical rom-com chick lit kind of book, which is really not my vibe. It is also like extremely clean, to the point of like no sex before marriage, and not even like have a discussion about it. Like they're already just both on board of like that's not even an option in their heads. What is this? I think honestly what happened is that I have curated my Instagram so well that it's like the ads that I get on Instagram is usually like craft related or Amazon Kindle Unlimited for the most part. Like 99%, which I'm like, yes, thank God I finally curated my ads on some platform. So I get a lot of ads for like these Kindle Unlimited books or just like books by independent authors. And so I got an ad for this book, and it basically said like what happens when a tree falls on your house and the firefighter, or what happens when you're in the bathtub and a tree falls on you and the firefighter who rescues you ends up being your blind date that your mom sets you up on the next night. And I was like, oh my God, that sounds like so fun and such a fun like flirty time. And it kind of was, but at the same time it was just so clean. And I truly don't know what I'm going to rate this book, because on one hand it was just so extremely boring and monotonous, but at the same time it was so easy to read. There was one time that I did cry, but that's because we have a scare. She is afraid of dogs. She's a cat girl. She's afraid of dogs, and the guy has dogs. And so her friends and her family are all like pretty on her about like, this isn't gonna work because you're afraid of dogs, you said you'd never date a guy who has dogs, you know, just keep pushing her like away from him, even though they have really good chemistry, which honestly, it was okay. Like he was cute, but then there was like sometimes where he would say things where I'm just like, this is definitely like, when was this book written? Because it definitely doesn't feel like it was written anytime soon. There's 7 books, it couldn't have been, right? 2020. Jeez, you wrote 6.5 books in 4 years? That's wild. That's completely wild. I mean, they are all like 200 and some pages, so like I guess it makes sense, but Jesus. What were we talking about? Oh yeah. Wow, I'm surprised it was written in 2020 because it really doesn't feel like, I mean, I guess it does kind of make sense if like one of these people wrote it, you know? I'm sorry, I'm extremely tired. I'm trying to get to the point of the story. So, she decides to dog sit for him so that way she could kind of like get more used to the dogs and see like how it would be if they do continue their relationship and decide to like, you know, move in, get married, all that stuff. So would she be able to like handle being around these dogs, but also she has a cat. She watches the dogs, and unfortunately one of the dogs, she has no idea that chocolate is poison to dogs, and she gets up in the middle of the night to like check on the dogs. She grabs a chocolate and she leaves the box on the counter, not thinking anything of it, and then one of the dogs gets into it and eats the entire box, and then she wakes up the next morning just like this dog just throwing up all over the house, and she's freaked out. And so it was just like, it's a really scary moment, because if you've ever been in that situation of like, oh my God, is my animal gonna be okay? But also like, this isn't my animal and it's all my fault. Is he gonna hate me, break up with me? Because like the whole time I was like, okay, this is going pretty well. I mean, like they were both set up on blind dates by their mothers. So like we have like this tension of their parents kind of like constantly butting into their relationship, and them kind of like sneaking around as if they're teenagers almost. But they're not, they're in their 30s. So we got to like the probably like 75-80% mark, and I'm like, okay, there's definitely going to be a third act breakup because everything's a little too well. And it isn't so much a breakup, but it's just like obviously a point of tension because they don't know if the dog is going to be okay. So he's very, very upset. She's very upset about it because she's like, I am caring about these dogs now, and also like I know how much they mean to him, and is this going to be what breaks us up? So like I did definitely tear up for that part of just being like, I have been there, like this is so awful, and like it'd be so terrible if this is what breaks them up. Like if this is the third act breakup, that's so traumatizing, especially if the dog doesn't make it. And so like it did have me tearing up, but it's mostly just because it's about pets, not so much that like it was just written so amazingly well or anything. So I really don't know what to rate it. I feel like I should rate it like maybe a 3, because it was just like, it was a thing. So like I read like 20%, and then I was like at my, like, okay, I should go to bed. This is like when I normally go to bed, which is already like cutting it a bit in terms of sleeping. I'm only going to be getting like 5 hours or 6 hours of sleep because I have to get up earlier than normal. And then I had anxiety, so I woke up, read a couple more chapters. Okay, let's try this again. Nope. Wake up, read a couple more chapters. Let's try this again. Nope. Wake up. We might as well finish the book at this point because I'm not even sleepy now. And I started and finished the book all in one juncture. I started at midnight. I got done with it at 5 a.m. and then finally was able to go to sleep for 3 hours. So we are living life right now. I am so tired. I'm definitely about to take a nap. So yeah, I think, yeah, I guess 3 stars. Because like, yeah, it was, when it said it was like a sweet, clean romance, I expected it to be like closed door. I mean, like they do have like some heated kisses and things like that. But, and like the flirting was pretty cute. But yeah, like sex is not even a thought in their brains. It's not even like we better stop because we need to save ourselves. Like, they don't even have that conversation. That's what's completely insane to me, is they don't even have a conversation about, do you want to wait? Should we wait? None of that. It's just completely expected. And that is weird to me. That is completely out of my norm. That is so strange to me. And I'm just like, that's not even how, like, hormones work. And at the same time, it's like, okay, he is 31, 32. She's 29. And I'm like, have you guys never? Have you guys never? That's pretty nuts. I will say the second book, I was like, maybe will I read another book? Because like they're all very short and not like anxiety inducing in any way. Because the second book follows her best friend, and she has been in love with her brother's best friend for like ever, but he's always treated her like a little sister, a child, you know, the standard trope. But then like in this book we get quite a bit of like background into the story, and so it's almost like I feel like 50% of book 2 was like already hinted at in this one. So it's like, are we gonna go back in time, or are we gonna go from the end of this book and then have flashbacks? I really don't know, because what we find out in this book is that the best friend is living next door to a girl who ends up being the fiance of her brother's best friend. And there's like a scene where they're like on the phone together, our main character and her best friend, and she's like, oh my god, I think that she's breaking up with him, and they have like this public breakup, and the whole time he keeps like looking at her door as if he knows that she's watching, but she is under the assumption that he doesn't know where she lives. But then they said something about him being like a deputy, so like he probably knows where she lives. I don't know. So I'm like slightly intrigued, but at the same time I'm like, if this is another just like completely clean book, boring. Like even like by the end, I mean, like, is it a spoiler if I tell you that in a romance they end up together? Even by the end, like, they still don't even hint at having sex ever, you know? And it's just nuts. It's completely nuts. I mean, maybe if I'm at a point again where it's just like, I need something completely mindless, so simple to read that it's ridiculous, maybe then I will read the next one. But I'm like, there's just no way that I could read 6.5 books of completely pure, clean, no hints at anything romance. That is just so boring. So boring. Like, give me something wild. So I guess I'll give it 3 stars maybe. Or should I give it 2 stars for being so boring? 2.5, I guess. We'll say 2.5. So what am I going to read next? I truly do not know. I almost want to read book 19 in Ice Planet Barbarians, just because it's like, it has been a goal of mine for like 2 years now to finally finish these books. And I'm finally in a place where it's like, it's possible. Like, I'm reading book 19. I could technically skip ahead and just read book 20 real quick and just be done with at least Ice Planet Barbarians. But at the same time, like, these books are short, they're quick and easy to get through, and the other ones that are left in the Ice Home series, I also really want to read those too. Especially the next one. The next one in the Ice Home is Mari's, and she's another one who has already resonated but is fighting it to the point where she had her cootie turned off. And we just found out in the other books that not only did her resonance get turned off, but like all feelings. Like, she is completely numb to all feelings, and they're trying to figure out how to turn it back on. Like, that sounds like such a fun time. So I might go into that. So I guess once I figure out what I'm reading next, I will check in with you guys. I think right now I'm probably going to like play on my phone and fall asleep and take a little nap. But I tell you what, this entire video is gonna be, or clip is gonna be me cutting out yawns because I cannot stop. But okay, I am going to lay down on this couch. Oh, I don't think I showed you guys my new nails. Aren't those cute? I love them. I love them so much. Okay, Natville, here I come. Hey guys, it is Tuesday. I do have a reading update, but first I wanted to do a little grocery store haul with you. I cannot wait to one day have like a counter that I can set you guys at and place everything in front of you and show you like when I actually go full grocery shopping when I buy. Because I love seeing people's grocery hauls. I don't know why. But today we've just got me holding up items. So I wanted to run to a store. Oh god. Sorry, one of the items I just realized is like messy. Hold on. So I was making sure I didn't like get it all over myself. Anyways, I wanted to run to 2 stores today. I wanted to run to Aldi and I wanted to run to Kroger. Very specific things in mind. So we will start with Kroger because this item I need to get in the freezer. So I bought at Kroger some Kroger brand chocolate chip cookie dough. Or not Kroger, sorry, Aldi. Yeah, there's Sunday Shop chocolate chip cookie dough. I bought this, God, a long time ago. Before Aldi got cool, when Aldi was like the place that you go when you don't have money. I went up there with my husband back when we were in high school and was like, oh, I love chocolate chip cookie dough. And it's like $1 something. I should double check how much it costed today because it was only like $1 at the time. So I bought it and it is one of the best chocolate chip cookie dough ice creams. It is so good. So today, even though it's not why I went there, I was like, you know what? I'm going to go there. It won't be a bust because like the Aldi is not, it's not far away, but it's not nearby. So it's like, I have to go very out of my way to go to an Aldi. I was like, no matter what, it won't be a bust because I'll just buy some ice cream if they still have that ice cream. So I'm very excited to be eating that. But what I went there for, and I'm so happy that they have, which I need to text my mom and be like, you don't need to look at your Aldi anymore. They put in their ad, I think, because my friend shops there all the time, and she's the one that told me that they have these because I was looking to buy at least one of these, if not 2, with my paycheck this week. And it is a self-warming cat mat, and it even comes with toys, which is pretty cool. My cat Pepe has been a bit cold lately, especially at night when it gets, especially upstairs, it gets so cold. So I wanted to get 2 of these, one to put on our bed for him, and then one to put down for Ebony during the night if she wants one. I think she's fine. She doesn't seem like she's cold lately. Slash put it on my desk when they're hanging out in there. So I got the color I wanted, which was the green, obviously. And then for the second one, I decided to get black. They were only $8, I think, and I was looking at a $20 one from Amazon. So I'm very excited about that. And then I went to Kroger. I think you guys know why if you watched my days 5, 6, and 7 of the Book Bite-a-thon reading vlog. I went to see if they had any more in stock. And they had not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, not 7, but 8+, because I only bought 8 of my delicious Pepsi Nitro. Pepsi, if you're watching this, sponsor me. Send these to me. I love you. I love these. Please, for the love of God. So Kroger, it seems like is just selling them individually. They don't have the 4-packs. But they had so many. They had like 2 entire rows in their fridge department plus like 4 on the bottom shelf. And I want to just be like, I went to go get a cart so that I could just buy them all. And I was like, no. Stick to a budget, $20. I can spend $20 on these. So they're $2.09 a piece at Kroger. So I decided, you know, I'll just get 2 4-packs worth. That should be okay. And I feel so bad because I left the aisle to go get a cart and then realized like as soon as I left the aisle, I was like, you know what? No, I shouldn't get a cart. I should just get 8 or however much for 20. And so I just like stopped dead in my tracks and there was a woman behind me and she almost ran into me and I felt so bad. I was like, I am so sorry. And she's like, it's okay. I was just like, why are you rushing up behind me? I mean, Kroger at, you know, noon on a Tuesday is not the place to be if you're in a rush. Apologies, woman. Apologies. So, yes, I got this awesome haul. I am so excited. It was like such a good day and I got good parking spots at both. There were no like traffic issues or anything and I was like, I am having a good and lucky day. I feel like everything's gonna work out and I needed this. I needed today. I also need to figure out when and where they are selling a I think it's called like cherry Pepsi cream. So in theory, it should be cherry vanilla Pepsi. So I need to find out when they're selling that, where, and get one, because I would really like to try it. I also need to find a vanilla Coke so I can find out if I like vanilla Coke. But at the same time, it's like if I haven't seen a vanilla Coke naturally, maybe they don't sell it anymore. So maybe it's good that I can find the Pepsi Nitro, because I only wanted to retry vanilla Coke because I couldn't find the Pepsi Nitro anymore. But Kroger is here for me. Kroger cares about me. Now I need to do some work. I think we're gonna try to go to the gym tonight. I'm not feeling great today. Like physically, I just feel blah. But I think I might just leave it up to my husband. If we go, we go. If we don't, we don't. Oh, a reading update. So I will open up these warming pads while I talk to you. I need to clean my kitchen up because my husband has it just like, there's just stuff everywhere. Like, why isn't the peanut butter put away? Why isn't the tortillas put away? Why is the multi-surface cleaner out? Like, come on. What were we talking about? Oh, a reading update. So, I did not come on last night and update you on what I decided to start next. I decided, let's just keep going, babes. Let's just keep going. So, I started Barbarian's Treasure, which is 19 in the original Ice Planet Barbarian series. Am I 50% of the way through? I am 65% of the way through. It is, okay, so it's good. It's following Megan and T'Chall, I think, or Kale? Oh, Megan and Cashel. So it's following Megan and Cashel, who, again, it's the original series. They are one of the ones who, like, resonated, like, pretty immediately. And, oh, Jesus. Well, there you go, Pepe. This is kind of like, while it takes place in current day and they resonated immediately, it is going back in time and telling their story, because she is like hanging out with one of her friends and some comment is made about like resonance or something. She's talking, did I say she's talking to her friend? Some comment is made about her relationship and she like makes a comment that it wasn't always easy. And her friend's like, what are you talking about? You guys resonated immediately. You were so happy. And she's like, no, that's really not the case. Are you sure you want to hear the truth? And she's like, yeah. So it goes back in time and tells like how they got together. So Megan is the one who, when she was abducted by the aliens, she was pregnant and she was planning on keeping the baby. It was like a one night stand, but when she found out she was pregnant, she decided that she was just going to be a single mom and that she wanted to keep the baby. And she's somebody who like men have never chosen. She's never good enough for people to stay around. She's never worth putting in the effort to get her to finish in the bedroom. So she has like a lot of insecurities, and then she got pregnant, she decided to keep it, she got abducted by the aliens, and they forcefully removed it. Vectel, our leader, he tells Cashel about it, and it's just like, hey, like, there's nothing physically wrong with her, but she is not mentally healed from all of that, so like, go slow with her. And so we had this giant, like, miscommunication trope because he's trying his best to not make her feel like this is something she has to do, makes her feel comfortable, but she's reading it as another man who doesn't want me. And so it's like, oh, like, I usually hate miscommunication, and obviously if they just talk, all of the resolve, because she would understand where he's coming from, he would understand where she's coming from. But at the same time, like, I'm not having so much a problem with it because it's just like, it's so heart-wrenching and they're both coming from the best place possible. I feel like normally in a miscommunication trope, it's like they're breaking up because of a miscommunication, but it's like they're both hurting and they're both hurting because of the other person, but yet they both think they're doing what they're supposed to, because Megan is also having some insecurities of like, if I don't resonate and have a child and do everything I can for this tribe, they're not going to accept me and they're going to kick me out because I don't want to feel like a burden to anyone. So she's like breaking her back to do all this stuff, and it's confusing Cashel because he then is like pushing her to do more stuff because he thinks that's what she likes, but she actually hates it and she's like literally killing herself. And then he's also like not trying to be sexual with her because he doesn't want her to feel pressured, but then she feels like she's being rejected. So it's just like, it's so terrible. And then like he overhears her talking to her friend when they first resonate, and she's like, yeah, I mean, like we're not in love, but I need to get pregnant so that they don't kick me out. And so he's just like, I'm so in love with you and you don't even like me, you know? So like, it's so terrible, and they're trying to do like they mean well, but they have this miscommunication. So I think that's why I'm like okay with it. But the thing that's kind of throwing me is that she has a foot fetish, And I hate feet so much. I hate feet so much. So like every time they like do something with feet, I'm like, please, please stop, 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 stop. Oh God. But I will say it's really good so far. I am excited to finish it. And then my plan is to immediately go into Mari's Mistake, which is going back to the Ice Home series. And it's the girl who has resonated but turned off all her feelings. I decided, I've been listening to these audibly on Hoopla. And my library gives me 5 credits a month. So by reading Barbarian's Treasure and Mari's Mistake, that is all my credits for the month. So I think I'm just going to finish out my credits. I even double checked that there's no other books I need to get from Hoopla this month. So I'm going to finish out my credits, read these, and then in December, I just have, I think like Raven's Return and Bridget's Bane or something. And then the final book in the Ice Planet Barbarian series. So I just have 3 books to like meet my goal of finishing the Ice Planet Barbarians, which has been a goal for 2 years now. I think that's super doable. I won't be done with Ice Home. Obviously I have like a couple more books after that, but I think it's super doable in 2024 to reach part of my goal. Because there's also like 50 billion other books that Ruby Dixon has written that I need to read and want to read. Ugh! But yes, so I'm gonna read these 2 and then I will go into like the other books that I actually planned on reading this month because I don't have any more credits to listen to the audiobooks. I could just read them on Kindle Unlimited, but I'm having a good time having them told to me even though they're so dirty. But I'm having a good time. So I think that's like an easy way to like, okay, read something else now, Beck. So that is my plan. Let me show you. These are like not bad at all. It's a really good size. And then it's got like the little like grippy stuff on the back. They are thin. I mean, it's just like a self-heating pad. It's not a bed. So they are a little bit thin, but for $8, like I am excited. And you can machine wash them. Machine wash gentle, cold, don't bleach, dry flat, do not iron. Cool. Cool. So yeah, I'm gonna set these up for the cats. I am going to do some work and I'm going to listen to Barbarian's Treasure because I need this miscommunication to be resolved. I'm excited. I'm really excited. Can we just take a moment to just appreciate how like beautiful and spooky this view is out my window? I love the sunset. It's so cool. Hey guys, it is Friday and what a week it has been. So I did finish some books, start some books, and I have some plans for this weekend. So let's talk all about it. The last book that I was updating you guys on was Barbarian's Treasure by Ruby Dixon. That is book 19 in the Ice Planet Barbarian series. And I did finish it. It was pretty good. It was interesting to like see their story from their point of view because we haven't heard it. And especially with like that miscommunication and everything, it did end up being pretty cute. I gave it, I believe 4 stars. And it was just kind of like, you know, I liked it, but it wasn't anything to be like, wow, that was one of my favorites. Is kind of how I feel about like giving a 5-star to the Ice Planet Barbarians, is like if it just really like, yeah, I loved that. So that one got a 4. Like I was telling you guys, I then immediately went into Mari's Mistake, which is book 10 in the Ice Home. And this one is about Marisol, who she was the girl who was with Lauren when she goes somewhere in book 1 of Ice Home, and she resonates, and we never really get her story. But then I thought, I could have sworn that she didn't want to be resonated, so she had her kui turned off. But actually, after reading this, I was like, oh yeah, it turns out that her mate ends up getting hurt before a big plot point happens of why they go back to the original tribe, or rather the beach tribe, I guess. And because his kui is focusing so much on resonating, he's not able to heal. So she has the healer turn hers off so that his kui can just work on healing him, and then they'll turn it back on. But then the healer can't figure out how to turn it back on. And that's kind of like where we're at. So it was interesting because I didn't think I didn't remember that at all until I got here. But this book was really, really cute because we have this male main character who, like, I mean, they both fully remember being in love, but it's like his kui just kind of like took a back seat, whereas hers was completely turned off. So it's like he still remembers how it felt to like be obsessed with each other and be in love, and he wants to be there. And it's like, no matter what, we're still mates, we're still gonna be together. Whereas for her, she has absolutely no feelings. And when he touches her, like skin to skin, she feels like rejection, like disgust, like this isn't my mate, get off of me. Like basically her kui thinks that she's mated but to someone else, so the touch of someone else disgusts her. So she feels really awful, and she's like, you should just forget about me, like that sort of thing. So it's like them being in love, but at the same time like almost like forbidden lovers kind of, but it's not. It was a really interesting plot device, and to see like them go through all these things and see him like just really kind of like take care of her, make her feel safe and comfortable, do whatever he can in his power to make it where like if we can't fix this, we can still get past this to be together. It was just so sweet, and I really, really enjoyed it. My plan was, like I told you, this is all my Hoopla credits. So I was gonna just stop, wait till next month, and then continue on. But where this book ends, we get 2 epilogues, which I've never had. So we have like a normal epilogue of like where they are now, you know, a week later or whatever. And then we have a second epilogue from someone else because something else has happened. And the things that they're saying, I'm like, huh? What's going on? What? So now I'm like, can I even stop? Can I even be stopped? Like there's so many other books that I do want to get to, but at the same time, it's like, I really want to keep going. So I'm struggling with, I do technically have my book club card with the library that I could use those Hoopla credits. I could see what my husband's plans are with his Hoopla credits because I kind of want to keep going. So I ended up giving this one 4 stars as well. Even though I did really enjoy it, it still wasn't like amazing. Even though I kind of expected this one to get a 5-star, but it was still really, really good. And I'm not sure where I'm going. So I did decide like, let's just take a pause for a second. I know I really want to keep going. And now my coworker who also reads these, we have been like on the same level, and we both like got back into it this month, and now she is about to start, or no, she already started this book today. So it's like we're about to be at the same point, and we both are like, I can't stop reading these. I'm at a point now where it's like I want to keep going and going. So it's like if she continues on to the next one, then I'm gone. I'm reading it. So I'm either going to read it through Kindle Unlimited or use a Hoopla credit from somebody. But I did start another book to kind of like, let's just take a breather and see if we can get out of this world for a minute, even though it's like I should just keep reading these if I want to. I truly need to embrace my mood readerness. So the book I started was one that I keep getting ads for. So my Instagram ads are very well done. Like my Instagram ads know exactly who I am. And like they know who I am in the moment, in live time. They know exactly what I'm wanting to see. I will literally say something like, oh, this paint by number is extremely difficult and these paintbrushes suck. And now I'm getting targeted ads for this company who does paint by numbers, and their paintbrushes are fantastic. They keep showing me these videos of how good these paintbrushes are, and they're only $12, so I'm gonna buy them. But like it's that creepy. And so most of my ads are like craft related, a little bit of fitness, and then Kindle Unlimited. And I keep getting like quotes or ads and things for this book. And I was like, you know what? I think I'm gonna go ahead and just jump my whole TBR and just start this book because it keeps getting targeted to me. I want to remember what the heck book it is and just read it, because normally what I do is I have a wish list on Amazon called Kindle Unlimited. I put all the books for Kindle Unlimited that I want to read in there, and then I put a comment on there with like why I want to read it. So that way, if it is from an ad where it's like, you know, there's this line in it that like really got me where I'm like, oh, I want to read that, I can copy and paste that and put it in the comment, so that when I'm like, what was that book where the girl is a dragon shapeshifter, but there's not supposed to be any female dragons anymore, and she's in this like weird maid situation where she's like a maid for these male dragons, and it's kind of a bully romance, but then they find out she's a dragon and they want to be with her. Now I can just be like, oh, it's that one, because my comment says, this is the one you've been looking for that you keep forgetting which one it is. I decided, you know what, I'm just gonna read it. I'm just gonna jump the line and just read this book. But then I was like, this cover doesn't match what it sounds like for Kindle Unlimited, and this author sounds familiar. I did start a book by this author and it sucked and I DNF'd it. And now that I'm pulling it up to show you what book it is, it's literally the second book in that series. That's wild. So the book I'm talking about is this one right here. Gold Digger by Susie Tate. The book one that I DNF'd is called Daydreamer. And I think I started it last month, 2 months, 3 months ago. Pretty recently. It has almost like the exact same cover, and I was like, God, this looks a lot like that one. Like maybe it's a trend. But then I was like, no, that's the author. I just now realized it's the second book in that series, but book one was so bad. Like I didn't like the writing style. I honestly hated our main female character. And the male character was just like, I don't know, he just gave me the ick. So I DNF'd it after like, I don't even know if I got through a couple chapters. I was just like, nope, not it. I think it was in August or September when I was just like DNFing left and right. So, apparently this is book two, but I am, how far into it? I know I'm not that far, but I'm 23% of the way through it, and it is so much better than book one. I think it's because our main female character is so relatable. And she's the type of heroine that I really like, which is I really like someone who maybe is a little, like slightly damsel in distress in the terms of like she's having a rough life or she's having some issue going on and this guy comes into her life and kind of like helps her through it, but is also feisty and independent and like, I don't need your help, but I appreciate it. And that's very much our main character. But the plot of this book, and I don't even know how the two relate. I'm wondering if he's friends with that guy or something. I don't know. But anyways, the plot of this book is that, I don't remember their names, but our female character is a maid. And I think both of her parents are dead. I know for sure her mom is dead. I think her dad passed away a long time ago. And she has a younger sister who is basically mute at this point from trauma, and they had like a very hard life growing up, and her mom passes away, so now she is responsible for her sister, and she is like, she's got multiple jobs, she is struggling to make ends meet. The guy that she's currently working for is a Duke of Buckingham, and she like really needs this job, and she is also kind of crushing on him. And then it turns out that he is also crushing on her because like every once in a while she'll get like, she'll show a little bit of her like true feisty personality. And he's like, I've never had someone kind of like buck against me. Like everyone just kind of does what I say. But then he realizes this like power imbalance of like, but I'm her employer, so I can't kind of cross that line. And she also like, obviously she has this very troubled childhood. Her last job she was fired from because the husband was hitting on her. So it's like, you know, she lives in this kind of like seedy world where it's like a woman has to like know her place and know, like have to put up with so much in order just to make ends meet, which is awful and horrendous, but that's the world we're in, baby. You know, she's trying her best to like be invisible, cast her eyes down, call him sir, and things like that. And it's like he tries to rile her up because when he does get a glimpse of her being a little bit feisty, he really likes that, and it makes him more intrigued of knowing that like something's it's kind of like a who did this to you trope, because it's like he can tell that there's obvious trauma and he like doesn't like that. He's like, what happened to her? And we even find out that like she's his maid, and she talks about how like, I don't even understand why he pays me because this house is spotless, like rich people are so weird. And turns out he hired her because his maid was retiring, which was like a long-term maid that he's had forever. It probably like someone who's been in the family for a really long time. She wants to retire. So then he hires her, and she's very clumsy and not that great at cleaning. So he brings back his other maid because he sees like, I've caught her sleeping sometimes. I see her textbooks out studying to go into psychology. You can just see like the bags under her eyes sometimes, and how sometimes she's just like so weighed down with like the weight of life and tiredness because she works like multiple jobs, plus she's trying to study and take care of her sister, and he doesn't know all of it, but he can just tell like this is somebody who needs a little bit of bubble wrap. So he brings back his retired maid so she cleans before this maid comes, just so that way she has like a place where she can kind of relax and study and maybe catch a nap when she needs one. And then he also like figures out her like what snacks she's kind of like sneaking from his house, and he makes sure that they're fully stocked so that she always feels like she can take one, even though she doesn't know that. She thinks she's just getting away with it. And then he's just revealed to us that like he told her like leftovers go to waste in my house, so I'm just gonna leave stuff on the counter that I don't want anymore if you could just dispose of that. And she's like, oh my god, like this is crazy food, I'm gonna eat it. Because he's like, she's way too thin, I don't think she's eating properly. And what he's actually doing is he's ordering food and just like throwing it on a plate so she thinks it's leftovers, but it's brand new food that he's just feeding her. Like, it's just so cute. But I'm really, really liking it so far. So I think it's kind of wild because I was like, God, this looks just like that book I really didn't like. And then I was like, oh, it's by the same author, I'll just try it. And then this morning I started it and I was like, I like this. I really like this, which is just wild. It's wild. So yes, that is where my reading is at right now. I'm going to update my reading journal, and then I'm going to take a shower and get in bed because I have to be up so early for a Saturday. So god awful early, which I know is like probably not early at all to most of you. I have to be up at like 8. It's disgusting on a Saturday because me and like all the women in my family are going on a trip to Frankenmuth tomorrow. We're gonna take a little day trip. So it should be interesting because I've talked to you about Thanksgiving and what I'm worried about, and now it's happening tomorrow basically. I'm ready to like hang out, shop, do whatnot, what have you. But that is my plan, and then Sunday is a day for chorin'. I need chores on Sunday and sleep in as late as I want to. Hello everyone. It is the last day of this vlog. It is Monday night. I have not updated you in a while. I have a lot to talk to you about. I have had a lot of things happen this weekend. I have read books, I have a haul, and I figured we would do something fun together to wrap up this vlog. So let's first talk about the books I read. So there was one book that I read that I completely forgot to even tell you guys about, and that is this book right here, Nightmare in Savannah by Lela Gwenn. This is the book. I don't remember if I talked about it with you or showed it to you, but it was in a vlog like, I know it was last month. It was just a book I grabbed when I was at a local library, not my library, but another one that I was doing some work at while I waited for an oil change. And I saw this graphic novel when I was like looking through the stacks, and I was like, you know, that seems like a fun, spooky time. I'm gonna check it out. And then I completely forgot all about it until I finally saw it on my TBR cart, and I was like, oh yeah. So I read this at my silent book club that I run, which I think I talked to you about. If not, I will tell you about it. So Silent Book Club is basically where a bunch of people get together and they all just read together and then talk about what they read. And they're all reading different things. So you still get like the social aspect of like talking about what you're gonna read tonight or talking about what you read already, and then just having like a community space to just read and relax with other people. I started that at my work, and I decided to bring this graphic novel so I could finally read it and return it. This graphic novel was terrible. It got 1 star. It was just so bad. Like, the artwork wasn't awful, and the idea behind it wasn't the worst, but the execution was just so ridiculous. Like, you'd be on one page, and it would be, like, at school, and then the next panel would be somewhere completely different. You have no idea how much time has passed or what. So it was very jarring. Like, there was no good transitions. And then just, like, completely wild stuff happens. Some, like, very brutal stuff happens out of nowhere, which is pretty weird when it felt very much like a younger teen book. And the ending was stupid. Like, I read the entire thing, obviously, in one sitting. I think I read it in, like, maybe an hour. And like, I got done and I was like, what a waste of my time. So it's about this girl whose parents are in prison for, I think, embezzling. And she moves in with her grandpa in Savannah, Georgia. She starts this new school, and she finds out that her and her new friends are changelings, which are fairy children that fairies have swapped out with humans, usually because they are trying to save their children from death. So they swap them out so that they're in the human world instead. And they all figure this out, and they decide to basically like take over the town evilly, like not in a good way. And then she kind of like gets a conscience and tries to like get her friends out of the situation, but just like messed up and dumb stuff happens, and it was just so bad. It was so bad. Then I told you guys that I started Gold Digger. I gave the book 5 stars. I gave it 5 stars. Was it honestly perfect? No, but I couldn't stop reading it, and I was so invested in it. I was so interested. I wanted to keep reading it, and I just can't believe that I went from a DNF on book 1 to a 5-star. And I feel like I should retry book 1 because like they touch on, like, books 1 and 2 are kind of happening slightly overlapping. So I feel like I should read book 1 because the like small tidbits that I got in book 2 really don't ruin anything. Like the only thing it ruins is like that the people are together, but it's like, it's a romance. Of course they're together. So, and it's not even like a book where you question who she's going to be with. Like, you already know. So I feel like I should retry it and see if I can get into it now that I've like know the writing style. But I also feel like it's like the couple. Like I don't really care about this couple, and I don't like that our heroine is so easily manipulated. Basically, she doesn't stand up for herself at all. And I don't like that kind of heroine. So I'm pretty sure that she like eventually kind of like takes control of her life like most do. But I don't know if I care enough. And I am thinking about reading book 3. So that's very interesting. Now, I have now started Raven's Return. I was super pumped to start it because we get, I don't think it's the full chapter 1, but we get part of chapter 1 at the very least at the end of Mari's mistake. And I was like, what? I was so intrigued. Like, what's going to happen? What's going on? Where is Raven? Yada, yada. And now I'm pretty far into it. And I have figured out like what the secret is for both of our characters. And I was like, that's stupid. Like, it was such a letdown. Like, it built it up like it was going to be something like really crazy and possibly life-threatening. Like, this was going to be like the new anxiety-inducing plot line. And no, sure not. But I do need to finish it. I'm still like enjoying it, but it's just like not exactly what I was expecting going in. And so my hopes were pretty dashed. But my coworker who is also reading them, it's the reason I started it. I was going to take a break like I told you guys, but I really wanted to read it. And then I told my coworker about it and she was like, okay, yeah, I'm going to keep going then. And I knew she was going to. And thank God I started it because today she was like, can you believe that this is the secret? And I was like, oh my God, yes, I just started it. And she's like, oh my God, I should have asked you before I just blurted it out. But I was like, I already knew you were going to read it. So like, we're good. So even she was just like, what is this? I was like, I know. So I think possibly I'll finish this and then I will go on to other things. I already have like things that I need to read this week, things that I have plans for, yada yada. Maybe I will pick it up the following week, but this might be it, hopefully. Or maybe not hopefully. I'm just reading whatever I want to read this month. On Saturday, I did go to Frankenmuth, so I do have a little haul for you guys that we'll get into. I had a pretty good time. I was with my family, and my family sometimes drives me crazy. So they sure did. But overall, like, you know, I was with my mom, who's like my best friend, so it was totally fine. And then Sunday, well, actually Saturday night, I came home from Frankenmuth, and I just threw like the shopping bag, the plastic shopping bag on the ground, and Ebony like came up and acted like she was going to pee on it. So, and we have issues with her. Sometimes it seems just like if her litter box is not to her standard, she will do that. She'll pee outside of her litter box. So I was going to yell at her, but I was like, you know what, you're on a plastic bag. It's usually like towards the end of the month when it's time to change the litter out completely, because once a month I do a complete clean of the litter boxes, like all new litter, everything. So I was like, it is that time, just go ahead and pee on the bag, at least I can easily just clean it up, and then, you know, we're supposed to clean your litter box tomorrow, but I'll do it today. Well, she peed on it, and thank goodness I told her to, because there was blood. So we took her to the emergency vet yesterday because it's Sunday and the regular vet isn't open. And I didn't want to put it off because it seemed like she was in pain. She seemed like she was straining and there's blood in it. And I know that like bladder infections and UTIs can be life-threatening to cats. And I don't know how long this has been going on. So we took her yesterday and we spent like 6.5 hours there because, you know, emergencies come first. So we spent all day there. We spent a lot of money there. Turns out that Ebony has bladder stones. So we have her on medication. We have changed her food. We are going to be getting a second opinion from our vet because the emergency vet suggested surgery on the stones to remove them instead of just trying to let them naturally pass because of how many there are. But I have been told by others that the place that we went to, like, they always suggest surgery. So I'm going to get a second opinion from our vet And then if they also suggest it, kind of price it around, because the emergency place told us, you know, like $3,000 to $4,000, which I don't have. So yeah, now we are doing medication every 8 and 12 hours. She's doing really, really well. Like, we got home from the vet. Her attitude hasn't changed at all. She's just like, hey, I don't feel good. I'm in pain. So I just like have this worry in my head, and she's just been chilling out. She hasn't acted any like different. She's acting like actually very well on the medication. Like, her attitude is really well. She's purring. She's asking for pets. She's just lounging around like usual. So that's really good. So that's just been like circling my brain and giving me lots of anxiety, and I'm not rich. So just another reminder that I'm not rich. So yeah, that has been going on in my neck of the woods. And then I thought that we could do the Goodreads Choice Awards together. The opening round opened up, what, yesterday, day before? My plan was to do it with you. I think it opened up Saturday. And I was like, ooh, tomorrow I will update the vlog and we'll do it together. And then, you know, all that stuff with Ebony happened. So I was like, I just need to like get in bed, relax, eat, finally. So yes, now let's go ahead and do these Goodreads Choice Awards together, and then we will call it a day. Let's vote in the opening round. So we have reader's favorite fiction. Have I read any of these? No. So what I do in a category where I haven't read any of them, I usually pick the book that either I've heard really good things about or that I would read. The other thing I don't understand is how come, unless I just have a bad memory, but you guys let me know, how come in the opening round, in whatever, I think, is it just the opening and then the final? In the final round, there'll be books that weren't in the opening round. So is it me just losing my mind, or were those books never there? I really don't know what to pick. I kind of want to pick Greta and Valden, just because I'm not positive if it's the same book, but there is a book that looks similar to it that I want to read. Yeah, no, this is not at all. I don't think the book, like the book that I want to read. It just looks like it. When it comes to just like general fiction, I'm not a fan. Do I pick Sally Rooney because everyone loves her? Do I pick Leah Moriarty because I would probably read one of those? Okay. I hope This Finds You Well actually sounds interesting. I think we're just gonna go ahead and vote for it. Next category. Okay, historical fiction. I'm interested in historical fiction, hardly ever read it. I want to pick Sylvia Moreno Garcia because I have read a book by her. She's a good author. Okay, I feel like I'm going to pick The Briar Club. Yeah, I'm just going to go with The Briar Club. That sounds super interesting. Okay, mystery thriller. Sometimes I read these. Right off the get, Lucy Foley, I haven't read one, but she's somebody I'm interested in. Darling Girls sounds super interesting. Home is Where the Bodies Are is one that's like actually on my to read own. I believe it's on audio that I own it. First Lie Wins. I've been told to read this. Is anyone else like, what is Riley Sager doing? Like, I read one, it was amazing. I read another one, it was pretty good. And it's just getting like worse and worse. Because that's how I feel about Riley Sager right now. And I also to read own it, which is interesting. Okay, I think I'm going to give it to Home is Where the Bodies Are, because I really want to read that. Next, we have romance. Okay. Oh, right off the get, I'm like, ooh. Okay, so Play Along is part of a series that I have read the first book in, and I've heard this is really good, and I want to keep going. Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. I haven't read an Abby Jimenez, but I heard they're really good, and I think I'm really going to like them. So that's another good one. Kennedy Ryan I've heard is amazing. Swift and Saddled I haven't read, but it sounds interesting, and I'm reading another book in the series for Chandler Ainsley's book club, King of Sloth by Anna Huang. I think I read an Anna Huang a long time ago, and I am interested in the series. I also need to read an Elsie Silver. I want to read the first book of Leather and Lark. There is Casey McQuiston, but we all know what I'm voting for, and that is Bride. I've read it. I loved it. Okay, romantasy. This is like majority of what I read. Oh my god. Okay, so Fate, Inked in Blood. I've been meaning to read this book for so long. Haven't gotten to it yet. Feybound I heard is really good. Born of Blood and Ash. I want to just completely restart reading the series from scratch because I feel like I'm missing all of like these small details that intertwines like this series and the other series, so I need to. Restless Stars. I haven't gotten there yet, but I love it. House of Flame and Shadow. Was it the best book? No. Am I a Sarah J. Maas fan? Yes. But I don't know if it's going to get my vote. Apprentice to the Villain. I do want to read the first book. A Crown That's Cold and Heavy. I don't even think I've heard of. Statue Stark, though, I have heard of. I've heard good things about Quicksilver, but then I read about it and I'm like, would I like that? Like, my favorite authors, 3 of them right here, all together. What do I do? Do I give it to Jennifer Armentrout, my like OG #1 favorite author? Do I give it to Sarah J. Maas, the only book that I've read on this list? Which also means like I need to read these books. That's a possible plan for 2025. That I have read and loved. Why is it showing want to read? Read it, loved it. What are you talking about? Or do I do Restless Stars because it's like I'm sure this would get my vote over that one if I've read it. I'm doing it. I know it's crazy. I know it's crazy to choose the book that I have not read. But I feel like I can guarantee that if I had read it, it would get my vote over Sarah J. Maas. I'm sorry. I know. Okay, regular fantasy. Somewhere Beyond the Sea is probably getting my vote. Lots of books I want to read. The Night Ends with Fire. Such a good book. So good. If you are a fan of Milan, read this book. It is so good. I can't remember if I had already started vlogging again when I read this. It's amazing. But was it better than Somewhere Beyond the Sea? No. Let's just be problematic. Okay, science fiction. Not my strong suit. I'll tell you that. I usually go with a book in this category that would be like the one that I would read if I had to read a sci-fi, or a book that I've heard my friend talk about who does read sci-fi. But I don't think she's talked about any of these. I don't think even like Reagan from the Peruse Project has talked about these. I'm gonna pick Annie Bot. Horror. You know, I really want to read I Was a Teenage Slasher by Stephen Graham Jones, but I keep giving him a chance and he keeps letting me down. Like, his books are just like weird and sometimes don't make any sense. Sleep Tight also looks horrifying. Indian Burial Ground is one that I have been interested in reading. The Eyes Are the Best Part freaks me out. Ooh, I really want to give it to Chuck Tingle. I think it's hilarious that Chuck Tingle kind of like really made a splash on the market in 2020 when he came out with his like my butt getting pounded by a T-Rex or something. Something equally ridiculous, if not that. And now he's writing like serious horror. Yeah, I'm just gonna give him my vote. I do love though how much like indigenous rep we have on this list. This is like, in my personal opinion, looking back at other Goodreads Choice Awards, this feels very inclusive, which I'm liking. Here you go, Chuck. Okay, debut novel. The Truth According to Ember. I am super interested in reading. I'm gonna go with the romance. The next category, I don't think we've ever had before, which is audiobook. I don't think we've ever had this. Okay, sorry, but Somewhere Beyond the Sea is getting my vote again, which means like, should I change my vote? Because like, honestly, the audio is where it's at for this book. Okay, we're gonna vote for this one for audio, and then I'm gonna go back to fantasy, clear my vote out for this one, and give it to The Night Ends with Fire. So now, young adult fantasy. Interesting. I haven't read any. I haven't read any of them. There are quite a few that I'm interested in. The Darkness Within Us is haunting me. Poisoner's Throne. I need to read book 1, but I think I'm going to go ahead and just give it to Darkness Within Us because, my God, do I need to read that book. Okay, favorite young adult fiction. Have I read any of these? Sure haven't. But again, there are quite a few that I want to read. Heartstopper, I need to like get on the bandwagon already. I read the first one, loved it. I haven't continued on, haven't watched the show. I know I'm horrible. Holly Jackson, need to read. I'm aware. Gwenn and Art Are Not in Love is a book that I do own the audio of. I did want to read 1,000 Boy Kisses by Tilly Cole. I feel like I heard some problematic stuff about her or the book. I can't remember. So she's not getting my vote. Okay, That's Not My Name sounds amazing. I need to mark that as want to read. Oh my God, it's Under the Surface about the catacombs. Okay, that sounds horrifying. An epic survival thriller about 4 teens who get lost in the Paris catacombs for days. I don't know if I can read that. I'm gonna give it to That's Not My Name because I feel like out of all the ones that like I want to read, that's the one that I'd be like, I would bet that that's the one that's going to get the highest rating for me. Nonfiction. We know how much I read nonfiction. Ooh, The Untold Story of the Rise and Fall of Disney Channel's Tween Empire. Hi, camera died. Okay, seriously? The Untold Story of the Rise and Fall of Disney Channel's Tween Empire Disney High? That sounds really good. And I need to read that. Memoirs. What is I shouldn't be telling you this? Okay, doesn't this cover look like it's going to be like, I shouldn't be telling you this, and it's going to be like a traumatic past? Which, like, maybe it still is. It's a comedian, screenwriter, and podcaster detailing her tumultuous upbringing and uproarious career path into Hollywood. That doesn't sound like, that small description and that cover don't match. Okay, I think I'm going to give it to the third Gilmore Girl because, you know? Okay, and then I think this is the last round. Yes, history and biography. Why did I say it like that? Biography. Which I feel like this one is usually the one that's like, I either find something super interesting or I'm like, what is this? Ooh, The Kennedys and the Woman They Destroyed. Misogyny, murder, mayhem. History of horror from Salem to Stephen King and beyond. I would read that. Real life stories of bones, burials, and murder. Also extremely interesting. Okay. Seeing as how there's only two that I'm like, I would actually read that. Which is Madness and American Scary. Two so totally different books. I'm gonna give it to Madness. Because I feel like if I was like, you have to read one right now, which are you picking? I would pick Madness. Okay, we have done it. The final round opens up next week. So when I do my Thanksgiving vlog, this can be what we do, voting in the final round. I think that's all that I have for you. Don't forget to keep reading, stay safe, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!